This is Inside the Locker Room, where football isn't just a game, it's a war zone. Every take, unfiltered. Every prediction, ruthless. From Sunday battles to primetime legends. We break down the matchups, the mind games, and the moments that define champions. Fantasy, film, trash talk, all inside the locker room. So if you came for smoke, you're in the fire now.
What is up? Inside the Locker Room, episode 27 is back, and our co-host Ben is back. Ben, how you doing, man?
What's going on, guys? We got a little phone episode going on today. Might be a little mobile, but it's football Sunday. We're back. It's week 11. I mean, Deuce, how you doing, man? Been a while.
It's been a while. Been tired, been busy, but that never stops. But I will say this to the ones watching: stay tuned because we do have more episodes of Inside the Locker Room coming out weekly. More as the crew starts to get back together. We've been busy, so as the crew starts to get back together, more episodes will be posted. But I hope that y'all have been, entertaining with me and Michael's HBCU football content to keep us, keep y'all interested. But overall, in the long run, the bigger picture is the whole Inside the Locker Room. But just kicking off, week 10 before, we even start, we talk about week 11 because the Dolphins and the Commanders are playing right now.
Yep.
I want to talk about that Broncos game, Ben, last week. Just what are your thoughts on it? And I know we were talking about in the group chat how, the Broncos have a very good record, but it is a lot in part due to that defense. And we thought that the offense would have, I'm not going to say they look mediocre, but it just doesn't look the same as last season. I think Bo Nix has taken a little step down. He still is playing good ball, but I think he's just taking a little step down from last year. Ben, just what are your thoughts on that?
I agree. I mean, you hit the nail on the head with that. I mean, the Broncos offense is not really clicking as much as it should, I would say, these past couple weeks. I mean, I feel like the run game needs to be stronger. I mean, J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey, they're both splitting, I guess, touches in that backfield. And we've had, a couple nice games from R.J. Harvey, if I'm not mistaken, already this year. But, I just need more consistency from that offense and honestly more consistency from quarterback Bo Nix. And that's not to, knock Bo Nix at all, but, the Broncos last year, they were cooking all year and towards the end of the season and the middle of the season. And then once they got to the playoffs, they were basically a first round exit to the Bills, I believe. So this year it needs to be different for them. They need to come back. They got the W over the Raiders, a big divisional win, but I mean, it was a lot closer of a game than we may have thought. And I have the Raiders, all the way down at 32. If you guys have been keeping up with my power rankings, I honestly, honestly think, Genty, he's gonna have to wait till next year to maybe, be on at least a team above 500. But I mean, yeah, that's what I thought about that game. And as far as the AFC West goes as a whole, Chargers last week, I believe they played whatchamacallit. Yeah, they played the Steelers and then they lost to the Steelers. So wait, no, that's wrong. They beat the Steelers. My apologies, y'all. So no, they played the Steelers last week, and then they beat the Steelers. So the Chargers and the Chiefs, they're kind of neck and neck right now. The Chiefs we've seen come back. They're playing they're playing the Broncos today. Funny enough, so we'll see how that one goes. Big AFC West divisional matchup.
I love that you mentioned that they play the Chiefs because look, this is important in the NFL standings. Right now the Chiefs are 5-4, Chargers 7-3, Broncos are 8-2. So it's all a very close race. But right now, and Adam has even pointed it out, the Chiefs look like the best team in the AFC West in his eyes. I kind of see that too.
Yeah.
But like I said, this is going to be an important test for the Broncos because this determines if the Broncos are legit and can take the conference. Not the conference, but the division. It's been a little minute since they've been leading the division. Chiefs have led that division for a long time. They've won it, so this is the Broncos' best opportunity if they want to win. The Chiefs do have some weaknesses that the Broncos can expose. They have to. Patrick Mahomes is playing great ball. They have to contain him. But the defense has to just continue to keep doing what they've been doing all season. But I want to jump into the other division in the AFC. Last week, we had the Jets play, and the Jets, they have not lived up to the standards that we thought this season. We thought they would probably be. We said, look, they're not going to be the best in the AFC, but it's going to be an improvement from last year. that is not that's not been the case. It's actually been a downgrade from last year, and it's
Mhm.
so much stuff going on. But Ben, I know you're a Jets fan. We see it all in the background, but just
Yeah,
just what's going on? Just what's a recap from last game?
Man, it's honestly a lot to recap because honestly, if I can remember correctly, I don't think I think the last time I was on this podcast, we still didn't win a game. So now that we've won 2 games, even after that, a lot has happened to to the squad and to this to this room to this honestly the morale as well. We got Garrett Wilson out as well. We got a bunch of different receivers now in this room. So last week when we traveled to Foxborough, Thursday night, a couple of days ago. I mean, I wasn't really expecting for a win at all. I mean, the Patriots, they were red hot. Patriots are the hottest team in the NFL right now, clear as day. We'll get to that in a second. But for the Jets, it's just hard. It's just hard to watch sometimes. And that's not to knock Justin. Like, I want Justin Fields to succeed. I root for Justin Fields every single Sunday. But when it's, his third game with, less than 100 passing yards, not to say that's his fault, you question what's really going on with this offense. And honestly, I don't even think Tanner Angstrom, the offensive coordinator, is calling that bad of plays. I just think I just think the certain wide receiver group that's out there, and clearly Garrett Wilson being out of the picture is just a huge like drawback, especially for Justin Fields. We were expecting to have them paired together, and now that that's away. So, and
And
with the whole
you
trades, I'll mention real quickly, they got a massive haul for them, and this defense just looks completely different without them, and I'm honestly a little disappointed as well in the way defensive coordinator Steve Wilkes has coordinated things so far this season.
I mean, but what's disappointing me with the Jets is most of their games are not even getting blown out. They're losing by
Yeah.
one possession, like
Hmm.
literally just one possession.
Yeah.
One possession, I kind of thought that the Garrett Wilson, Justin Fields connection would look a little bit smoother, but it hasn't. But like you said, it's hard to do that when you can barely even throw for over 100 yards. Um, Look, Justin Fields, like I know it's taking a toll. I know it's taking a toll. It's your first season, but just keep pushing through. Look,
And like,
I still
yeah,
believe in Justin Fields because
so do I.
I think that they may not have a winning season, but I think he can close a season out. They've only lost these games, most of these games by one possession. I'm looking at it, you lose to the Steelers week 1 by 2 points. You lose to the Bills by 20 points. Okay. But you lose to the Buccaneers by 2 points.
Yeah,
You
and
lose
like
to the Dolphins by 6.
yeah,
It's a repeating cycle. So
I,
it's
I
just
I think the main thing that Jets fans need to understand that I always tell people and why I was so excited when we signed him in the first place. And, no matter how, this ends positively or not, I want Jets fans to understand one thing. When we're looking, oh, let's look into next year's draft for a quarterback, blah, 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 if we have a top 5 pick. The Jets have never had a young mobile quarterback like this, in my opinion. Like, we've never had a player of a caliber like Fields in terms of his legs. Like, you see the plays he still makes with his legs. Yes, like his passing games have not been pretty so far this year, for the most part. But like just the ability he has, those plays that he can extend with those legs, like when he drops back and then suddenly the whole defensive line gets shook and then he just runs for 20 yards. Like we've never had a quarterback that can do that. So like that's why I think sure you can get another one that can do that, but I don't know. I just think it's something special that we got, and we just got to at least close the season out, like you said.
look, the Jets mid-season, they did a mid-season overhaul. You dish out Sauce, you get 2 first rounders. You dish out Quentin Williams, you get a first rounder from the Cowboys. Then then the Jets got their first rounder. So they have picks.
Yeah.
With that being said, the smart thing what to do this offseason, or I would be, look, in my opinion, I think you give Justin Fields one more shot. I don't think this quarterback class in the upcoming draft is the best,
Mhm.
honestly.
No.
I think you give Justin Fields one more shot. You go and invest in the offseason, you get players to build around him, then you go and invest some picks. You have 4 first round picks, I believe. Use those to your advantage and get, players that can build around Justin Fields.
Like how crazy
Would
would
a Jeremiah Smith be?
Yeah, look,
Like,
like there you go.
and you know they're gonna have a top pick just because off the
Exactly.
record, y'all didn't trade y'all's y'all round pick, so y'all know y'all gonna have a top pick. The
Yeah.
Cowboys pick is probably gonna I think the Cowboys pick is for not this year, but
It's next year.
2020,
Yeah.
yeah, next year.
2026.
But you can always use
Or
that as
27.
leverage. You could always use that as leverage.
Mhm.
We'll give y'all this pick and some extra second rounders for to move up in the draft. So that's just how it plays out. But I do want to talk about the Patriots because we did call this. We called this all back in July and June. Ben, the whole group, we said Patriots would be a dark horse. Did
Yep.
we think to this extent? No. But look, Drake Maye's been playing amazing. I know, Ben, you said he was in your MVP talks, but Drake Maye's been playing amazing.
Yep, I'm still here, by the way.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
look, Drake Maye's been playing amazing. Justin Taylor's been playing. Jonathan Taylor's been playing amazing. So, just your thoughts, playoff. I'm not playoff picture, but first about the Pats, and then about the MVP talks because both of these players have been playing amazing. I still
Uh,
can't put my dot on who I want to be MVP.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely, Drake May was going to be the more popular, I guess, kind of consensus at the moment, just because of, how many quarterbacks you've seen in the past. But Jonathan Taylor is definitely going to be somebody interesting to look at just because of the number of like multiple touchdown games he's had already. I mean, the last game he had, or I believe the last game he had against the Falcons, he scored the first touchdown, the second touchdown, and the third touchdown. I mean, that game was honestly a masterpiece from Jonathan Taylor. Shout out to the Jersey native. And I honestly think he's my front runner for the MVP. What Drake May is currently doing, though, we haven't seen since Tom Brady. So their win streak and the Patriots being back, that honestly is strong contention for MVP. And honestly, I would still put, Baker Mayfield in the mix. Hopefully, the Bucks can, hopefully maybe they upset the Bills this week, and then people will talk about Baker being in the MVP race right again.
Agreed. Look, I think the pay. Look, I think we were pretty like split on our pick'em for this week with the Bucks and the Patriots. So I think that's gonna come down to the wire. Drake May has been playing amazing ball all season. I think that's large in part to do with Mike Vrabel. We said this in the offseason. The Patriots need a coach that can get with the program, can change the team culture, can help the players. You saw what he did in Tennessee. He's doing
Mhm.
that right in in New England. And I think the Patriots right now, they have a young roster. They have a young roster that can just keep building to the future. And also with first round with your picks, you can keep building. Then your draft picks and your free agency, you can keep building. I like the Stephon Diggs pickup. I know a lot of people didn't like that pickup, but I said, hey, he's going to help them. And then look, he's been one of Drake May's top targets. We said Drake May cannot have Hunter Henry as a target. He can have him as a target, but he
Mhm.
can't be the leading like target. You go
Yeah.
out, you get Stephon Diggs and from the Texans, and now you see the results. But one thing I do also want to talk about is the Ravens. They started off slow. Lamar Jackson, he got hurt. But he came back and they slowly started winning. Right now they're sitting at 4-5 in the AFC North, just one game behind the Steelers. Today they played the Browns, which should be an easy game. The Browns have not looked the best. We have our opinions with the Browns, but I think this is a game that the Ravens can take. The Ravens' biggest threat right now is Steelers. The Steelers, they do look. The Steelers, one week they'll show they look dominant. Some weeks they show that they have like little mishaps. What they did to the Colts, though, that's why I don't ever count them out. But Ben, do you think that the Ravens can come back and take the North? Because I surely do think they can. You're muted.
My fault. I just seen that. But yeah, I think currently the way we've definitely seen Dylan Gabriel play these past couple of weeks, I think Lamar. I mean, every game is a must-win game right now for the Baltimore Ravens. The rest of the season. So that AFC North division is still tight with the Steelers still, but I think they can still take it this week and officially be up top. Um, but yeah, like I said, I think the poor quarterback play from Dylan Gabriel on top of the other stuff, it's hurting the Browns. So I think the Ravens should take them over them today.
I look, I do too, but I just think one, I'm gonna say it's about the Browns. Um, Stefanski, he got to go. I don't think he's the key. I think that Dylan Gabriel. Look, if they're gonna play with Dylan Gabriel if they're gonna play with Dylan Gabriel as a starting quarterback, you got to at least let Shador play at least the last 2 weeks. I don't think. Look, Dylan Gabriel's a rookie, so I'm not gonna give him too much heart. And also the play calling and the coaching right now is not the best. So I'm not gonna give him. I'm not gonna like go too aggressive because I can understand where he's coming from. But I also think you got to give Shador a chance. I just don't think it's right if you don't give Shador a chance. But with the Ravens, I most definitely think that they can come back and take this division. Um, right now it's the Steelers to lose, but you play the Steelers in 3 weeks. basically for the division. But also with this being said, the Ravens are about to have, the gauntlet of their schedule coming up. You play the Browns, then you play the Jets. So those are 2 easy weeks. Then you play the Bengals. The Bengals, is a rival, so it's probably going to be a close game. But then you got the Steelers. Then you got the Bengals again. Then you got the Patriots. Then you got the Packers. Then you got the Steelers. So it's all about, in my eyes, how, just how do the Ravens close out the season. But I do think that they will take this division. They just have to beat the Steelers. And a good thing for them, they haven't played them yet. So it's still, they still got time. But I know Adam didn't get to join the show. So, and we're going to talk about the Niners and Seahawks. But one thing I do want to talk about, Ben, as a Giants firing Daboll after, this Bears loss. To me, it was like no shocker. I kind of knew this would happen. I think they should have did it last season, but I think them firing Daboll was just they had to pull the plug, and this is gonna be the first game without Daboll today. You don't have Jackson Dart, he's hurt. You're playing with the backup in Jameis Winston, so it's gonna
Yep.
be interesting to see how this plays out. But just what are your thoughts on that, Ben?
I mean, it's a somber season now for the Giants. Scadaboo unfortunately went out, but he's already in high spirits. Back at home after having successful surgery. And then Jackson Dart, he's just been getting banged up too much because he's basically had to, play another running back position. Scrambling the ball. He's been running super hard whenever he does scramble the ball. So you knew that was going to take a toll on Dart. And then with Dable, you were right. We were all right. It's just time to pull the plug, and then it's just going to be interesting to see Jameis come out against the Packers. But I think the Packers they desperately need a win today. I honestly see 2 touchdowns from Josh Jacobs because I mean the running game for the Packers as well. It's got to be better, especially after last week's game with the Eagles snooze fest that we had. Man,
Look,
oh man.
speaking of the Packers, look, you trade for Micah Parsons. Look, I know I haven't been watching too much of the Packers, but I know he's had an impact. But
Yeah.
I want to talk about team overall. We thought the Packers were going to be better.
It's
They're
it's
sitting
it's
at
the
5-3-1.
offense's consistency, to
It's
be
it,
honest,
it's the
and
offense, and it's a
they're
lot
too
of.
banged up.
I think
Exactly
it's a
what
lot
I've
of.
been saying. Yeah.
It's injuries on the offense. I think Jordan Love has to play better.
Yep.
The defense, they're playing lights out, but I think Jordan Love has to play better. The rushing
Mm,
attack has to be better.
Yep.
There should be no reason that the Packers. They're by no means are they out of this division. By no
Mhm.
means are they out of this division. But you know, I do believe there are some games that should have just went another way. I hate to say it. They should have beat the Cowboys. They should have not
Yeah.
tied with the Cowboys. They
Mhm.
should, in my eyes, I think they should have beat the Eagles. They didn't tie with the
Mm.
Eagles. And
Yep.
they lost to the Cardinals and you lost to the Browns. Those are 2 games that you just don't lose. Like you just don't lose.
Yeah.
But do I still think that the Packers will make it to play? Of course. Do I think they'll make it to the Super Bowl? Only time will tell. I don't know. It's just how the season's been playing out. But Ben, before we just close this out, I just want to know your predictions for today.
Yeah, man. I mean, for today, we got, Bills Bucks. That's going to be a close game. I'm taking the Bills at home after that. The Bills need a win really bad. So do the Bucks, but I got the Bills in that one. They're at home. It's probably going to be a cold one. Then Chiefs are going up to Mile High in Denver. That's going to be also a great divisional game that we have today. Um, I'm going to take the Chiefs in that one. Broncos are home, but I think the Chiefs' offense is just a lot better. And I believe Jade is Pat Surtain still out today?
Yes, he is still out.
Yeah, so that's gonna hurt them still. So a bunch of weapons out there for Mahomes again, because Rasheed Rice came back from suspension. We still have Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith and all these other guys. So it's inevitable for Patrick Mahomes, and who knows, the Patriots may be back, guys. Like
Yeah,
we
look,
might be kind of screwed here.
and I'm gonna say this. Look, for the ones that don't check out our weekly pick 'em, make sure you check those out. Um, but I'm just gonna go down the list really quick.
Yep.
Jets over Patriots. I took the Patriots. Obviously, I think everybody got that one right. Commanders versus Dolphins. That game is still going on right now, but
Oh
look,
yeah. We
I took
definitely do have to. Sorry, real quick. I was about to say we definitely do have to mention the Seahawks and Rams game today.
yes,
That
yeah,
one's that one's probably the most important one today.
that is the most important one. That is
Yeah.
because that's going to determine a lot of playoff, not playoff seeding, but seeding for right now.
Yes.
But I took the Dolphins to win. I had the Bears over Vikings. I had the Panthers over Falcons, but this could go either way. One minute the Panthers look incredible, they can. Well, in another week they look mediocre. I got the Bills over Bucks, but this could go either way as well. Chargers over Jags. I just think that the Chargers, I think the Jags just show too many inconsistencies at times. They're a good team,
Yeah,
but they show
they
inconsistencies
they,
way
they
too
let
much
they
at
let
times.
Davis Mills call house last week.
Yes, and,
I don't
and
know.
that was a game. That was a game in my eyes they shouldn't have lost. They shouldn't have lost. But yeah, so I got what you call it, Chargers over Jags. I think Chargers are gonna bounce back. I don't think that the Chargers are a bad team compared to the Texans. Texans shouldn't have won that game last week, but Packers over Giants, they bounce back after this loss. Giants are without Scadaboo, without Dart, head
Yeah,
coach.
I'm predicting 2 touchdowns for Josh Jacobs
Me
today.
too. I got Steelers over Bengals, Texans over Titans, 49ers over Cardinals, Seahawks over Rams, Ravens over Broncos, Chiefs over No, wait, let me say that again. Ravens over Browns, Chiefs over Broncos, Lions over Eagles, and Cowboys over Raiders. Close out the week. Um, our weekly pickums will actually be posted right after I drop this video. So stay tuned. And Ben, before we go, do you have any closing remarks?
Yeah, man. I mean, I know our pick'ems, and I'm sorry, Adam, but I don't know. I have a feeling today that Matthew Stafford, he might have a better day throwing the ball than Sam Darnold. But I think they're both gonna go at it. They're both gonna go crazy. But I think Matthew Stafford and the Rams offense is just gonna have that tiny bit of an edge over the Seahawks today.
Agreed. I think the Seahawks, I think they're gonna find a way to win. That team is incredible, better than I
Yeah,
even expected.
yeah.
Um,
I think Matthew Stafford throws for at least 2 today.
this is one of them games that, in my eyes, can go either way. But closing this out because I do have to get back to the game, and Ben has to get back to the game. This will be posted on Instagram really shortly. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share it as many as possible, and comment. To the ones that have been watching our HBCU podcast, I want y'all to show us just as much love and
Yes,
support.
yo. Shout out to that.
Yeah, I want y'all to show just as much love and support to our Inside the Locker Room. But Ben, it was nice having you on, and we hope to get you back on. We hope to record something later this week. It was nice having you, and it was nice having this good episode of Inside the Locker Room. But as always, thank you for watching, everybody, and make sure you share our socials.
So catch y'all on the next one.